All right. Welcome to Friday Night Live. It's February the 7th. This is my second introduction tonight. Anyway, let's see how many of you jump in again. All right, fingers crossed. You can all see that I'm live again now. Now, whilst I'm waiting for everyone to join me, I'm just going to pour a little drink. I think I've deserved it. All right. On tonight's menu is, let me see, I can see a few of you coming in now. Yay, I can see everybody now. Hello, Lynn. That was a smart thing to do, wasn't it? Jump out and jump in a different way. Yes, we're back. I feel like I haven't seen you for a week. Yes, try again. That's exactly right, Shauna. If at first you don't succeed, you try again. And he who falls down 6 times or 7 times gets up 8. That's the saying. Woohoo! Now, some of you have had problems joining my lives before, but I did notice on my iPad last night, you can actually see that I'm live on my profile picture on my Thermogroovers page. So if you just touch that, it takes you directly to my live. So hopefully that helps anybody that's been, yes, big hug, absolutely, Rhonda. Hopefully that helps anybody that's actually been having any problems finding me. Just look up Thermogroovers and you should be able to see it on my profile picture that I'm actually live. Cheers! I can read all of your comments tonight. It was very lonely here last night, even though I knew there were so many of you out there watching. I felt like I was all on my lonesome. All right, let's get cooking. Well, there's not much cooking tonight. There's a lot of talking and doing and showing and explaining, right? So, but before I start, let's get the cork off this. This is one of my favourites, and it is Ninth Island. It's very nice. It's not hard for me to drink a bottle of this on my own, right? It's so delicious. So what are you all drinking? There you go, Sue. Try that next time. If that helps you, let me know next time, because I had to find myself last night so I could read the comments. All right. Cheers to the week. And cheers to all of you that are wearing so many hats right now in life. There's a lot to wear, isn't there? So many hats to take on and take off. And we all do it so well. So give yourselves a pat on the back. Tracy, you're having a bit of water. I just had some of that earlier. I really wanted a beer. Now, Leanne, you were asking how were the eggs? Mwah! Chef's kiss. My husband said, I could go some more of those eggs. Didn't you, Jim? You loved them. Yeah, he said they were good. We devoured those last night. Next time, I'm going to do 3 eggs each for a main meal. 2 eggs for breakfast is fine, but for evening, especially my husband hadn't had much, but he could have done 4, I reckon. Easy. Now, Greg, cheers to you for ripping the Band-Aid off last week, and you made your yoghurt. And everyone was keen to find out how you got on, and you did put a picture up in the community group, and it looked epic. Well done. Oh, Sally, you're having a cup of tea? Well, cheers to that. Tropical punch touched up with vodka. Love a little touch up with vodka, Lee. Cheers to that. I need to have this in an ice bucket. What I have done before, I've just sat it in my little thermo server and filled it up with ice. So there you go. There's your little ice bucket. You can do that with your big thermo server too, by the way. I've done that before as well. So I'm just going to sit that in there tonight. All right, I'll just make some room here. And what I've got for you tonight, I've got lots of things, like lots of little bits of information. Or Raylene, you're having a gin and soda. You've made Greek and vanilla yogurt, and you have maple chicken marinade, and you're about to make the honey mustard chicken. Ooh, you have been busy. Love the sound of all that. Well done. Well, you're having an orange juice, Jan. I hope you've got some ice in that. It'll be hot up where you are. And it's 27 degrees in my house this afternoon. I didn't put the aircon on because I thought it was just me that was hot. I didn't bother to look at the temperature on the wall. My husband comes in and says, why haven't you got the aircon on? I'm like, well, is it hot? I thought it was just me. I soon turned it on. I do need one of those Husky champagne cooler bottles. I absolutely do need one of those. Now, I'm just looking around. I was looking for something earlier. Anyway, let's get on with the cooking, hey? How are you all enjoying the new book? I'm loving seeing everyone's recipes that they're making. And the other thing I'm loving is that everyone's still cooking from the first book. How good's that? All right, hello Raven, nice to see you on as well. Let's get going. Yes, Greg, you did face your fear. Now you won't stop. Like now you'll just go ahead and you will make it, right? Because it's just so easy. It's not difficult at all. All right, let me get my lid for my Thermomix. So last night I used the Groovy Citrus Syrup with the Apricot Delight Chia puddings. I might have had a couple of those for breakfast. Remember I put them in a smaller jar just so I had a smaller serving size? Well, I ate 2 jars. They were so good. Raylan, you can't put it down. You're making all of your shopping list. That's good. Jenny, you're loving the new book. Awesome. Now, Lynn, you just finished making the seedy crackers to take out for tonight. My husband's just polished some off as well with the grab-and-go curried egg. It's just so good. You can just get a cracker and you can get that egg mixture and you can just have a snack with a beer. It's so good. All right, Jenny, you're loving the new book. I'm pleased to hear that. Now, tonight, what I'm making is the citrus syrup, the Groovy Citrus Syrup. So I'm going to make that tonight. I want to give you a few little tips about it because there's a lot of things that I couldn't actually write in the book, right? And there's lots I can't write in the book because the book would be over 3,000 pages long. And so this is where I can give you all of the tips on the line. And I did put a couple of extra pages in the back of the book just so you could write some notes, right? Sam, you're loving the new book. You think it's awesome. Hello, Queen, to you too, Louise. Now, Ken's loving it, Lynette. You've got your seeds today in anticipation to be able to start cooking next week. Brilliant. Brilliant. Love it. Awesome. Right. This part I'm putting in, it's got lemon juice, it's got passion fruit, and it's got some butter. Now, you can get yourself some fresh lemons. And when you get the lemon juice for the citrus syrup, right, make sure you take the rind off your lemon first and put it in the freezer because that can go into the simple citrus loaf, which is in the sweets for treats section in the book, right? So start banking your rind. You'll be pleased that you did. So when you squeeze the lemon for this Groovy Citrus Syrup, keep your rind, okay? Don't throw it out. Take it off first and then cut your lemon in half and then squeeze it, right? Now, if you've ever had an abundance of lemons, like I had some time ago, I actually froze the lemon into little 40-gram discs, right? And the reason I did that is because often I use around about 30 to 40 grams of lemon juice. And I put them into little silicone cupcakes and froze it, and then I just put them into a Snaplock bag, right? So what I've got in here is the frozen lemon juice. I've actually used, even though I've got frozen passion fruit, I wanted to show you this. So I find this really weird because this is John West. And John West is known for his salmon and his tuna. But he's sort of diversed into passion fruit, which I find very, very interesting. Now, Jenny, you love doing the marinated makeable chicken tonight. You did it as per recipe. It was amazing. Next time you wanted to put it in the air fryer and see how it goes. I think there was somebody else doing the air fryer as well. I'm keen to hear how that goes as well. Keep us posted, Jenny. Love it. All right, so John West is the best. He's got passion fruit on the go, okay? So I've got to show you what I'm going to do with that in a minute. But let's get this on. All right, I want to scrape all that out. I don't want to leave any juice behind. All right, scrape. Okay, so typically I would have passion fruit done like this. This is just in a vacuum seal bag. And I just keep it in the freezer and then I can break pieces off to put in to my cooking, right? So, and this is one of my little vac seal sticks. I'm just going to pop it back in the freezer. But I wanted to use the tin pulp tonight just to show you what to do with it once you open it. So let's get that on cooking. Now it's got a little bit of sugar in there. So we put it all in. This all just goes in together and then it has an egg in it. So that's the thickener. So this is brilliant for people that are gluten-free, right? I had to find a way of doing it. As much as I do use flour, I don't use a lot of flour in my recipes. Only my cakes, but I wanted to do this without any thickener in it, right? Ah, Sharon, the apple and cinnamon muffins are amazing. You get those little bursts of apple in the muffins. They're so good. Jenny, you think the hellish relish is amaze bowls? Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, in goes the egg. And guess what? We can actually do this on thicken mode, but I want you to do it how I've explained it in the book because of the temperature specific, right? You could use thicken mode, but I didn't want to do that because I just like it to be that little bit warmer than what thicken mode actually gives us. And then we just put it on to cook. And away it goes. All right. Easy peasy. Now I do need to turn it up a little bit faster. There we go. It'll settle down in a second. Right, I'm just going to put these in the dishwasher. Right. Stack them. There we go. All done, out of the way. And whilst that's doing that, let me keep going and explain some other things to you. Right, with this in particular, the passion fruit. Now this week, I got an order from the mix shop. And I bought one of these. They're called freezer pods. It's got a silicone lid, right? And the beauty of this is that you can put your lemon juice and your passion fruit in there and freeze it. Now I'll show you a little tip with doing that. Hello, Catherine. Nice to see you on. Now you've had a very busy week, obviously cooking. Oh my goodness, look at the list. Chicken risotto meatballs, hellish relish, sourdough fruit buns, bulletproof pastry, wicked whipped cream, bulletproof vanilla slice, and potato bake. Whew. You need a drink. And I think you need a foot massage too. Now, the secret sauce was made this week and devoured, Tracy. You put it in all of the dishes and on your eggs and on toast. Oh, I love it. That's so good. I think you're talking about the hellish relish, maybe. Getting back to these have like, they're joined in between here, right? So they're nice and solid, so they're not floppy when you put them in the freezer. And if you want to weigh in your lemon juice or I'm going to do passion fruit, clearly. So I'm going to open the other tin and I'm going to put the right amount. I'm going to put the right amount in each of the little sections. And then I'm just going to put it in the freezer and then I can just get that out. And I know it's the exact amount to make the Groovy Citrus Syrup. So if you want to do this, I think it's a great idea. You have 6 of them, Anne-Marie, and you put your quince paste in them because you have a quince tree. Oh, these would be awesome for that. Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is just pour it in until I've got the right amount. And then I don't even tear the scars. I just do the maths, right? Just do the maths. It'll save you tearing the scales. There we go. So that's one. And then I'll just do this one. All right. Whoop. There we go. I'm a little bit out. And then I can put the lid on and then just put them in the freezer. There we go. Oh, that one's got all the seeds in it. I'll have to remember that, doesn't matter. So then it's just a matter, see how you lift them up and they don't flop everywhere? It's just a little bit easier, okay? So Maddie, you don't have the passion fruit yet, but you want to make the vanilla slice. What can I add on top instead? So you can just do a plain icing on top that you would put on a cake, but I feel that if you can get a tin of passion fruit like I've just done, like this one, if you can't get fresh passion fruit, and it's too expensive sometimes, crazy expensive, just get a little tin of that. It's like $2.40 or $50 or something, I think. And then when you put these on, they don't clip on. You actually got to go around and put them on individually, right? You got to pull the lip around the outside. It's no problem. It just doesn't clip on until you actually manoeuvre it yourself. And then that can go in the freezer. Okay, so lemon juice, passion fruit, orange juice, anything really that you want to freeze, they're ideal. Okay, Yes, you could put tomato paste in these, absolutely. You could put your secret sauce in these as well. You could use them for everything. So they're on the Big Shop, and I think they're on sale. So don't walk, run. Okay? Don't walk, run. Right, I'll rinse them out and put them in the recycling in a minute. Okay, so that's one little thing. Oh, yum. Oh, it's delicious. That's one little thing I wanted to show you tonight. I've got my starter ready to go in my yogurt because I've got milk cooling down. Now over here you can probably see I've got a little bit of a mess over here. See that there? They're cloves, they're whole cloves. I had ants today, and I saw on TikTok the other day, this lady put some cloves out on the bench, and the ants don't like the smell of the cloves. So I've just scattered cloves on the bench top, and the ants have disappeared. I don't know if anybody else knew that, but I thought I'd try it, and it actually worked. So there you go. Now, Raylene, you love bechamel sauce as your hubby doesn't like it, but I love it on broccoli and cauliflower. Oh, so good. You could put the bechamel sauce in those little pods there, Raylene, and defrost it. Mix it up again. That would still work. Fantastic. Yes, you can double the Groovy Citrus Syrup, absolutely. You have a glut of passion fruit and have frozen a lot already. Yes, you can definitely double the syrup. You just increase the cook time by 20%. That's all you have to do, okay? All right, what else have I got? I've got this big, I've got half a cow here, right? And I've just been defrosting it in my fry pan, sitting on my cake cooler. Now tonight, I'm making Jeanette's beef brew. Now, you might want to take some notes. I did explain how to cut the meat across the grain in the cookbook, but I want to show you, right? So let me show you how it's done. It's not hard. A lot of people get a little bit nervous when I say cut it across the grain, and then they get a little bit confused. So this is one full piece of oyster blade, right? So you can buy it from the butcher like this. That's what it looks like. Just looks like a roast, really. All right, let me get my paper towel. Where did I sit it? Over here. So you can get it from the butchers like that. This is how I get it. And then you can cut it up yourself so you can determine how thick you want to cut it, just like you can when you get a full fillet of steak. I'm going to use this big one. So what I'm going to do is just cut. Now this is still partially frozen. Right. So I just cut off the steak to the thickness that I like. So you can see how thick it is there. Let's measure it with the spatula. Where's the spatula, Jeanette? Here we go. So I usually like to put a spatula next to it so you can actually see. See that? That's how thick I've got it. All right, so it gives you a little bit of an idea yourself when you're doing it. So I'm just going to slice that up. Now normally when you get it from the butcher, they've already done this, and it'll be in the display cabinet, or he'll slice it up like this, and they'll ask you if you want it diced. No, don't get it diced. I want you to do that yourself. All right. Now I'm just going to lay that there. That's the most frozen part. Now the benefit of oyster blade, when you cut it, it's like someone's drawn a line through the centre to help guide you how to cut it across the grain. All right, so see that white line that goes through here? You don't cut with that, you cut across that. So we're going to do it in strips like this, okay? Yeah, I know, Stella will come running down. That's right, Tracy. All right, so what I'm going to do is just use that line to ensure that I'm actually cutting it the right way. So not with the line, you're going to cut across the line there, right? Now what happens if you've got a really long piece? Well, you cut across, you actually just cut through that line there to make the pieces smaller. So basically what you would do is, let me show you, this is where you would cut it, okay? Don't cut it up here, just cut it across that section there. And then you're cutting your pieces to go into the brew, right? And that's how you do it. So that's cutting the meat across the grain. Now, why do we do that? It's because the muscle of the protein has more stretch if you cut it that way. It's really important. And that's what ensures that, keeps your meat nice and tender when you cook it. So that's the voodoo that Bridget was talking about. What do you do if you have, what do you have in the pourer beside me with olive oil in? Oh, where am I? That there, that is my little olive oil and grapeseed oil. They're like little guns and spouts. You can buy them off Chef Solutions or Temu. They have them, right? And they're very, very handy. All right, so this is how we're cutting it up. I'll just do one more piece because I think I'll need one more piece. And then we'll put it on to cook. Okay? So that's how you want to do the meat. Now, if you cut it the opposite way, if you cut it with the grain, it'll be tough. And that's why when you buy meat from the supermarket, they've not cut it across the grain. They've just cut it any old how. They don't really care, right? So this is why I want to show you how to do it so that you can ensure that your meat is tender when you cook it, right? Yes, Jeanette, thank you so much. All right, so let me just weigh this out. I'll just get another bowl out of the cupboard and I'll just weigh it on top of my Thermomix, right? Just to make sure I've got the right amount. And then what you can do, you can just, if you've got this fresh, you can pre-cut it and put it into your freezer, already cut up, and then you just grab it out and add it to your recipe. So I've just got the scales tiered, right? We'll see how much we've got there. Oh, it's very close. I just need 100 grams. I'll just do that now. There we go. Now this recipe, some of you have already made it. So pleased you have. When I was creating this, it was all instinctual because I wanted it to taste like something that my mum had made and something that my nan had made and something that was really hearty. So this is what I come up with. Now I've got one little piece left there. I'm just going to cut that up and that'll go into the freezer. Now it's still frozen, so it's only softened a little bit. So that can go back into the freezer, perfectly okay. I'll just put it in a Snap-Lock bag and pop it in the freezer. All right. Now, has anyone got any questions about cutting the meat? When you cut it, I'll just wait for your questions to come, but when you cut it, your meat should stretch. So if you've got a long strip, your meat should stretch. If it stretches this way, that's really good, but if it stretches that way, that's not so good, right? So, there you go. Thank you very much, Sue. Reminded you of old times. And, when my mum was always cooking, that was one thing she would not let anybody else do. If she was catering or cooking at the pub and there was any meat that needed cutting up, she wouldn't trust people to do it themselves. She'd say, I'll do the meat. Because once you've cut it, you can't put it back together again and redo it. You only get one crack at it. And so, she was very, very particular about that. All right, my secret sauce, my Groovy Citrus Syrup is done. So it doesn't take long to make this. And it's a little secret weapon in your fridge because it's the best flavouring for your yoghurt. And if you might catch someone actually eating it out of the jar. Now, Boo, you made the brew. You followed the instructions to a T. It was absolutely delicious. The instructions are very good and easy followed. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased about that. Writing the instructions for a recipe that's come from your head and converted to Thermomix is a wee bit tricky. But I love doing it, right? So here we have the Groovy Citrus Syrup. So it's not a lemon butter and it's not a curd. And as Gail Woodgate would say, it is what it is. So there we have a little jar. All right, now I've only made a small portion so that you can get through it fairly quickly in the fridge, right? So you don't have to worry about use by date or anything because you eat it really quickly, but you can always double it, right? Hello, Roseanne. Nice to see you on. So let it cool and then just pop it in the fridge. And Greg, you've just asked, how long will the syrup last? It will last in the fridge 3 or 4 weeks, easy, because it has the sugar in it and it's got the lemon juice in it and the egg is cooked off, all right? So we've got lots of things in there that actually preserve it. But my theory is, if it still tastes okay and it's not growing anything, it's still good, right? So that's how I work out the use by date with things in my fridge. I hope you all catching on with that. All right, now, I haven't missed anything. It's so good to see everybody tonight. Right, I'm just going to give this a rinse and I'm going to put some more water in there because I'm going to wash some potatoes with the potato peeler blade cover. Well, it's not a potato peeler, it's just a peeler. There we go. I don't want passion fruit on my potatoes. I might just give that a little swish. Sorry about the noise. And then, there we go. Oh, how much do I need in there? A little bit more. 600 grams of water is what you need, so it just goes past the half litre mark. Okay, I'll put the blade cover in and that'll be ready to put my potatoes in. All right, let's get started on the beef brew, right? So I called it Jeanette's beef brew because if I called it a stew and then your family said, what are we having for dinner? And you said stew, they go, oh, I don't like stew. So that's why I called it beef brew, right? It's just a twist. But a stew often cooks like for quite a few hours. This doesn't. This just cooks for an hour, really. Not very long at all. Now, Tracy, you made the chia puddings and the yogurt, Josh, the secret sauce, have meat soaking in the maple marinade. My gosh, you've been busy. And you could eat the secret sauce on its own. You love it. It's dangerous, isn't it? It's just got a little bit, it's a pimped up tomato paste. That's what I call it. All right, what we're going to do here is I'm just going to put some garlic into the Thermomix and chop it. Now, when you put this into the recipe, don't scrape down the sides of the bowl. All right, because you want the garlic to sit around the edges of the bowl, and there's a reason. All right. The reason being is that if you push the garlic down onto the base of the bowl, when we cook it on high heat, what will happen? The garlic will burn. Whereas if you just leave it up around the edges of the bowl, it'll slowly drizzle down into the bowl from the vapour in the bowl and it'll just get moist and it'll fall down into the bowl, right? Now, Groovy Citrus Syrup won't last that long in your fridge. It's too yummy and you... Kristen, you eat it. I'm just trying to read there on the bottom. You eat it by the spoonful. It's so easy to do that, isn't it? All right, we put in our butterfly blade. This is Jeanette's hottest tip when it comes to cooking main meals using a large amount of meat. I put the butterfly in, and it's just to help stir the weight of the meat on that blade. So it's like having a big spoon in there. So I'm just going to go to the recipe that we've got on Cookie Doo, which is browned onions, right? So it's a high heat recipe. Let me just pick that one. Browned onions. There we go. And I'm just going to go start cooking. We'll put the olive oil in, right? And this is where we put the butter in as well. And we put the onions, right? So we put all the onions in. And we actually put in half of the meat. Where did I see that? Here we go. So put in half of the meat as well. Now the recipe, the Thermomix doesn't have a set of eyes. It's only got like a sensor. It'll pick up how much you've put in, but it will let us put extra meat in, right? So, oh, Vicky, you're making the scones tomorrow. I don't think I've seen anybody make those yet. I want to see a photo. Can't wait. Now, Lynette, you've made Hellish Rally secret sauce, the Brew, honey mustard chicken. They're all delicious. I'm so pleased you've done all of that. Well done. Congratulations. Right, we're just going to turn that on now. I'll just get my splash guard out. And we leave the butterfly in, right? The butterfly stays in even when we're cooking on high heat. It's not going to touch the base of the bowl. It's going to be completely safe to do that. There we go. We'll put the splash guard on and it can do its little thing. All right. Now, while that's doing that, I'll do some more explaining about this recipe. It's not a difficult recipe, but because a lot of you haven't really cooked a lot of old-fashioned flavours in your Thermomix like this, it's a really good tip to show you. Now, when cooking large portions of... Thank you, Wilma. Now, Liana, you made the Butte beef stroganoff and rice. It is delicious. I'm so pleased you like that. That's my little take on a strog. Like, so good. And I pimped it up a bit because, you know, all the stroganoffs that I eat, I'm like, oh, I should have put more of this in, or I should have put more of that in, or they didn't do the meat on high heat, or it's got too much flour, or all these other things. So I wanted to put my take on it. I'm so pleased you like it. Hello, Meryl. Nice to see you on. You're late, but you really haven't missed too much other than how to cut the meat, but I reckon you would know that, right? I need a drink. Okay, I'm just going to check my yogurt, my milk for my yogurt, just to see what temper it's at. Because it's so hot today, it's taking a little... Oh, it's down to 50. That's brilliant. All right, I did that probably 3/4 an hour before I come on my live. We've got sizzle happening in the Thermomix, which is great. Now, with this Jeanette's Beef Brew recipe, when you cut your carrots, I want you to cut them, so you cut them lengthways as well as sideways, okay? So basically you've got a whole piece of carrot like this, you cut it into sections that are this long, and then you just cut them in half. That's the size they should be. And I've got you to add the carrot and the celery at different stages of the cooking to ensure that everything is still a little bit firm but hasn't broken down, but it's still cooked, okay? Did you do your bread? I sure did. I'm going to get that out of the cupboard, Lee, and I'm going to show you. Oh, the bead. Not yet. I haven't done it yet. Not the bead. I thought you said the bread. Liana, you've got crackers on the go tomorrow. Love that. Now, you enjoy fresh vegetables at the supermarkets have sold out them. Oh, yeah, Vicky, you guys have got it tough up there with all the rain. It's pretty miserable up there with all that rain that you're getting. Now, with the celery, same again, I've just left it into chunks. Don't cut it too small. You want to still be able to have this on your fork when you eat it. So it's basically 1.5, 2 sticks of celery. Now, when you take the tops off your celery, make sure you keep these. Now, these leaves, you can actually put these leaves in with the real deal chicken broth. Okay, it'll flavour them up, and then you just pull them out. Or you can give them to Stella, or you can give them to your chooks, or you can throw them out. Now, what you've got here is this other little stalk. Use that for your vegetable stock or your chicken stock paste, okay? And then you've got plenty of ingredients that will, you know, accentuate what you're making, but you've already paid for them. Save them, right? These are flavour savers. That's what we use them for. So that's what I would suggest that you do when you buy a bunch of celery, okay? So heads up with all of that. All right, let me just get my drink. That's a lot of talking, not a lot of cooking, right? Yes, I won't forget the bead. Let me do it now, Liana and Lee. You guys are onto it. So we're doing a counter for this year. I'm already up to 3. So 1 for today's batch of yogurt. Who else is doing the same? Counting how much yogurt they actually make. It's very interesting to know. I know some of you are making 4 litres a week. Like, you're feeding your family, which is awesome. All right, next thing I'm going to do is do the potatoes, right? So I'm going to use the blade cover peeler. And you can see the size of my spuds. They're quite big. I'm going to cut them in half. Let me just get my chopping board. And then I'll just pop them into the Thermomix bowl on top of the blade cover peeler. Now, I'm not sure how many people have a blade cover peeler, but you will need one. Sorry, you can't see me. Yeah, I do, Roseanne. I need to keep myself hydrated in this hot weather. Oh, yes, Leanna, some of the shops are closed due to the floods. It's feast or famine, isn't it? It's crazy weather. I've got a sister who lives in Townsville, and it just has not stopped. It has not let up. I'm going to leave that one that size. All right, so that's how my potatoes look now. So you can put up to 800 grams of vegetables in your Thermomix with the blade cover peeler. So, whoop, get in the bowl. Get in the bowl. Don't be scared to put all of that in. All right? It's all about maximum benefits. All right? Then we'll put the lid on. And I've filled that up now. That's close to 800 grams. And I won't leave it on for 4 minutes because I'll end up with little nuggets. So I'll put it on for 2 minutes. And I will stop it halfway through and have a look at it. And this is the only time I put something on top of my lid in case the lid pops out and creates a mosaic on the back of my splashback. So you're counting your yogurt. That's good. You make 2 batches of yogurt a week. It goes fairly quickly and there are only 2 humans and a tiny dog. I love that you're making yogurt that often and you're using it up. It's great. It is very cost effective and it's a great ingredient to put in your cooking because it changes all the texture, but you use less butter when you put the yogurt in, right? Which is great. Now, Jenny, you were amazed. You had made the Greek yogurt and used 2/3 before going away 5 weeks after baking. When you got back and opened the 3rd container, 7.5 weeks after baking it, it was absolutely perfect and you've been using it all week. Love that. So clearly you've got great containers to keep your yogurt in because it's airtight. That's awesome. I love that. Right, let's stop that. I've got 1 minute left now, so we'll have a look at the potatoes. But I'm going to steam cook these and then I'm going to mash them. So you can see the skins are nearly come off already. Right. So we'll let it run its time. Away it goes. And then I'm going to cut them up, put them in the simmering basket. I'm going to steam cook these whilst I'm cooking the beef brew. Right. So I'm lucky to have 2 Thermomixes. If I didn't have 2, all I would do is cook the beef brew first and put it in my thermo server, and then I would just steam the vegetables. So that's how you would do it, right? Now, Glennis, your hubby didn't like yogurt, but you put it on his Weet-Bix now and can't stop him eating it. You flipped him. I love that. Well done. I like it when we can flip them like that, right? They don't know what they're missing until, they give it a go. All right, I reckon that's long enough. Here we go. Ah, yes. There's a little bit left on them, but I'm just going to take all that off now and give them a little rinse and then put some more water in the bowl and preheat it ready for cooking the potatoes and steaming some veggies. So we're just going to have a bit of broccoli with this tonight with some mashed potato. And even though it's hot here, it's cooled down in the house now because the aircon's on. So it's not too hot. It's not too hot to cook now, which is good. All right. So I'll just put the water on to heat. So this is where I just swipe and I use kettle mode and just preheat the water. Okay. And then I chop all of my veggies up. So I chop all the potatoes up and do the carrots and everything while the water's preheating. All right, I'll just give these a little bit of a rinse. And so if you have 2 Thermomixes, this is what you could be doing with the second. So if you're contemplating getting a second Thermomix, don't throw the first one. Don't throw it away. Nobody ever throws it away. Who does that? I'll bop you on the head if you did that. Yay, Liana, you used the heat function for the first time today. Brilliant. You won't look back. Like, honestly, it's awesome. All right, so using 2 Thermomixes is just like using 2 pots, really. Okay? Now, what have I missed there? Let me see. Oh, your hubby calls it sour milk, Sharon. Well, they used to call it pig slop years ago because they used to feed the curds and whey. They used to feed the whey to the pigs. But it used to make their meat absolutely delicious. So there's a lot said for it, isn't there? All right, we just roughly cut these up. Now, if you cut your potatoes up smaller to put in your simmering basket, you can fit more in there. So you can fit 930 grams of potato in your simmering basket. And that, clearly, close to 1 kilo, will feed quite a few people, right? unless they're greedy and they like a lot of potato, which I would have to say I'm greedy. I love mashed potato. Right, let me put all this in here. So again, 800 grams of potato that goes into the Thermomix for peeling will fit in your simmering basket, right? Ta-da! See? We could fit a little bit more in there, but that's close enough, right? Steve, it's a given. It's an absolute given. Let me just tell you. Today I contemplated about, I have a black diamond Thermomix in a box in storage. And I thought, I'm not going to open it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I might get it out of the box and use it. I'm not sure. So I left it in the box. But today I decided that I'm actually going to sell it because I've got 3 TM6s and I don't need a 4th one. So, I mean, black doesn't really match my kitchen. So that's why I've decided that I'm actually going to sell it. So Louise and I might talk. You just never know, Steve. We could have secret girls business happening and you wouldn't know a thing about it. You have a friend who doesn't even peel her potatoes. I'm sure she washed them though, Liana, or she already buys them washed. She probably does. Jane, you're saying yes please to my black Thermomix or yes please to the mashed potato? I'm not sure. All right, let me just refill my glass and then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, which is putting the rest of the ingredients into the beef brew. We've got only 3 minutes left on sauteing. Danielle, am I trying to earn the sparkly? You know, it's really interesting when they put incentives on. I always look at them and go, ooh, that'd be nice, that'd be nice. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily drive me to, you know, like do more sales. How I sell Thermomix is how I've always done it. And I've never ever changed how I do it, but I do it consistently every month and I look after my people. So, you know, if there's an incentive on, often I look at it and go, oh, that'd be nice. How about I just not look at that and just keep doing what I'm doing? And then all of a sudden I go, oh, I've heard that now. That's exciting. Hello, Janet. You've popped on for a quick hello. You'll watch the live. Yay. You'll watch the live replay or you'll watch now. I think you'll watch the replay. Now, Rayleigh, you have a black one and you love it. It's pretty sexy, isn't it? Like having that different cover on it. Now, Roseanne, the bubbles of choice tonight are Ninth Island. It's a Tasmanian bubbles. It's one of my favourites. One of my favourites. I mean, I do have a lot of favourites, don't I, when it comes to alcohol. You guys know about that. All right. No. Oh, Louise. I'm lucky and Steve's lucky that black doesn't match your kitchen either. Well, I think he's quite safe, right? All right, we've got the water heated up and so I'm just going to turn that on. I usually cook my potatoes for about 27 minutes after the water's heated. Just seems to be enough time, right? Just enough time. All right, we have got, actually, what I might do is just check this first. This is my milk that I've been waiting to cool down. Oh, I'm going to do this first. I'm just going to mix it through. So, if you want to cancel what you've got on the screen of your TM6, all you do is hold your finger on the dial, or you can push it up, you can slide it up and it just disappears, whatever temperature setting or time setting you've got on that. Let me get the cream and let's add the cream to the yogurt. Now, you knew you had to come on because you've already made... You smile. Oh, I love that, Janet. All right, let me get my cream. And what have I got in here to do show and tell? There's not much food in there at all. I saved myself now for Thursday and Friday nights because my husband says, what are we having for tea tonight? And I said, well, I'm not cooking anything out of the book. That's Thursday and Friday night, right? If they did a purple one, Lee, you'd be tempted to get a 4th. Ooh. How cool would that be if you could pick your colour? Oh, I think everybody would love that. All right, so I'm just putting in the cream. Now, putting in the cream actually helps reduce the temperature as well. So That's why we put it in once it gets to that temperature. So it brings it down in temperature so you can add your pot set. Oh, it's down to 45. There we go. That didn't take much, did it? And where is it? Here it is here. All right. Now I'll just stir that through just to make sure that your temperature is even from the top to the bottom of the bowl, because sometimes you can have warmth in the bottom and it's a little bit cooler on top. So it's really good to mix it through so that you've got this stable temperature to add the pot set. Oh, nice to see you there, Robin. Yay! Okay, I'm down to 45. There's no change. Let's put it in. And then I can continue with the other. Perfect timing. I do like this little tool. It's a good little, it's just a good little gadget to have in the kitchen, I must say. Now, I had planned on making this vanilla, but I did it Greek, so let's stick with the Greek. Now I'm just going to mix it through. I'm not going to put it on to ferment, but what I'm going to do is mix it through and then set it aside, and I'll just pop it back on, bring it back up to temperature, and then ferment. All right, there we go. So that's all mixed through. And then I'm going to take one bowl out and put one bowl in and continue. All right, so I'll just change the time again. Put that on. And varoma temperature, and away we go. Done. Easy. All right. So next step of the beef brew, let's do that. Now, Roseanne, you've seen somewhere where people skip out the cream. Does it change the final consistency? For me, my palate picks up a difference. For other people, they haven't. And for other people, they're a lot like me. It changes the texture. So the other thing that's important to know is that when you make yogurt, yogurt loves the good fats. So that's why we go for a good quality cream. Jersey milk, so good because of the difference in the fat content. So Jersey cows, like my Stella, they produce a high fat milk, whereas other cows, like Frisian cows, they're the black and white cows, they produce a lot of volume versus the fat. So they don't have the fat quantity in their milk. So if you can get Jersey cream, you're on a good thing. Now, Janet, your husband says I need to make the new one with a silencer, but he never complains when he gets his dinner or his lovely snacks. All men say the same thing. They do. I think the Thermomix needs an ability for us to put in our own melody, and it could be a voice recording of us saying something repetitively to them. Can you put the toothpaste tube back in the holder? Or put your toothbrush back in the holder, right? Yes, Jane, Frisian cows and Collywood cows. That's them. That's them. All right. So we've got the meat done. And what you'll have in the bottom of your bowl, and I'm not going to show it to you now because I have to take the butterfly out and then I've got to get it back in. But what you'll have is this beautiful browning on the base of your bowl, right? Jersey milk yogurt is the best food. Oh, I haven't got pure Jersey milk, but the milk I do get, I do believe comes from a mixture of Jerseys and Frisians, yeah. And my dad, you're asking how my dad is. My dad's doing extremely well. He's got rid of all of his COVID pneumonia and his bacterial pneumonia, and he's infection-free, which is wonderful, and he's building up strength and getting stronger every day. So he's doing extremely well, extremely well. Now, Kerry, you're saying that yours is the same. Are you talking about your husband complaining that the Thermomix needs a silencer? Yes, absolutely. All right, the extra meat's gone in. Now, what we're going to put in next is the red wine. So if you're cooking with red meat, often you need red wine. If you're cooking with white meat, often you need white wine. Okay, so you need red and you need white in the cupboard. I just buy a box, stick it in the top cupboard in the pantry, and it's there for when I need it. So I call that the box monster. All right, we're going to throw in the flour. And then I've got some wet ingredients here that go in. Now, this recipe doesn't have yogurt. It's one of the recipes in the book that doesn't use yogurt. And I didn't want to put the yogurt in it because it would have changed the flavour and the consistency. and I just wanted a recipe that my nan made, and she didn't put yogurt in anything like this. She put milk in things. She'd soak some of her milk. Oh God, I can't talk. Some of her meat cuts in milk because it tenderises it. So no, you don't take the butterfly out, Leanna. It stays in. It all stays in there. All right, so we're going to cook that off. And this only cooks at 100 degrees, so we need the simmering basket, okay? Now, I'm just trying to remember. I think it's about 15 minutes from memory. I'm doing a good job if I'm remembering that, right? All right, let me go into the manual screen now. I'll put that on to cook. Don't forget to use reverse. Very important. There we go. Away we go. Now, because you've got the weight on top of the butterfly, your butterfly should stay on okay. There we go. Turn that up a little bit quicker. Done. So it shouldn't come off, right? Because you've put some more meat on top of it, so it shouldn't come off. Okay? Done. All right. Now, the next thing to go in at different stages of the recipe are, we've got carrots, we've got celery, and then we've got a little bit of parsley, and that's it. So the thickener's gone in now, which is only a very small amount, but the next cooking stage, we cook at Varoma temperature. And what that does, it gives us a reduction. So it reduces the amount of liquid in the recipe, which, you know, helps us not need too much thickener. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight as to why I've actually changed the temperature. It's not just one temperature, it's varied temperature. So there you go, that's why. I'm just checking to make sure I've got the right amount of time on there. Yeah. Oh, 10 minutes, less time. There we go. So we'll do 10 minutes. So that's why we use Varoma temperature in that carrot step. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. But this can help you when it comes to creating your own recipes. So if there's something else that you want to make or convert, my method will help you with making your own recipes up. And that's really what it's all about. So I'm teaching you how to cook meat in the Thermomix that can be tender. And there's just a process that we use. So you guys are learning Jeanette's process from cooking meat out of my recipe book this time around. Now, if you don't have the recipe book, if there's anyone on tonight that doesn't have the recipe book, head to thermogrooversyoghurt.com.au. I'll put the link in the description from the live once I post it. But you can download the cookbooks and you can have access to them straight away because they're digital. And you can start cooking straight away. Especially the yogurt, right? You only need a few ingredients to do that. Super, super easy. All right, now the other thing I had, some people asked me ages ago, where do I get my dishcloths from? Now, I'm a bit funny with dishcloths. I don't like them leaving wet marks on the bench, and these are microfiber ones, but what they are, they're not from the mix shop, they're from the Autobahn shop. Right, so this is what they are. They're microfiber soft towels, and they're about $30. And Jim said they're like $2 each. So all different colours, right up my alley. And you can soak them in like detergent, like nappy sand or whatever, to get the stains and the smells out. You just chuck them in the washing machine, and then reuse them. And then when they get daggy, I just throw them out. So these are my dishcloths, right? A lot of people have asked me where I get them from. So he just bought a new pack for me. So I thought I would show them, right? So you can go to your auto place and look for a pack like this, right? Now, Kerry, you might need my help downloading the book. You did it on your iPhone's the devil, and you can't find it. It does that to you. It keeps you on your toes. I will help you. Let's talk later on, and I'll give you some tips with downloading the book onto your phone. So that you can do it successfully and not stress about it, because I'm here to help you, right? Was the secret sauce a family recipe, Tracy? No, that was Jeanette's recipe one day when I was at the Sheffield High School here in Tassie, and I was doing a demo and we were going to make some scrolls. And they didn't have any base to put on the pizza scrolls, and I went, oh, let's just make one. And so I came up with that. And then they asked me later on, what's the recipe? And I went, oh, I can't remember. There's no recipe. I made it up. So I had to think about what I put in it. and then I finalised the measurements, and then everyone said, what's the recipe? I said, it's a secret. And then I had to reveal the secret, so it's still called secret sauce. So that's how that came about. Oh, Robin, Bunnings have those microfiber cloths. Excellent. I'm pleased that everyone can get them if they're at Bunnings, right? I hope everyone can get a hold of them. Right, my potatoes are cooking nicely. I'm going to get the aroma out. So there's 20 minutes left to cook. I could put my carrots in here like this and steam cook them if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. They're going to go in the beef brew. And I can sit it on top to remind me to put the broccoli in, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit it on top because I've got the broccoli ready to go. Right? And I'm going to sit that on top so that I definitely don't forget because I can get distracted and I can forget about a lot of things. All right, that's all I have for everybody tonight. The beef brew is on. It's got 6 minutes before I can add the carrots in. I'm just going to follow the steps in the book and then keep going with it, and we'll have this for dinner tonight with mashed potato and some broccoli. So now, Kate, chicken burgers here tonight, but cooked on the barbie. Oh my gosh, they would be so good on the barbecue. Kathy, you're starving watching, and it's still 3 hours till dinner in WA. Oh, well, you need to just have a few more drinks just to, keep your appetite at bay. All right, that's it from me, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's live. Lots of learning outside of the Thermomix, but to ensure you get a great result with cooking the recipes. So this is where the lives are super, super important. If you've got friends that have Thermomix and they don't have a copy of the book yet, the first book or the second book, get them onto it, get them to come and join my lives, because this is where all the learning happens, and you just use your Thermomix so much more. Now, Lynn, you did your first sous vide salmon today. It looks delightful. Ooh, that's going to be delicious. Can't wait to see what all of you cook on the weekend, right? I hope it's not too hot for you to cook. And stay safe in all this crazy weather that we're having. And I will see everybody next week. Happy weekend, everybody. Bye.